Dave DY Show, episode 10, General Monologue. We sit here once again under the fog of death and shock, callous shock. $11 murdered in a bar in Southern California, northwestern Los Angeles, the borderline bar and grill, country western line dancing bar. Sheriff, deputy, whatnot, sheriff, officer, law enforcement officer murdered, the 12th death, and the suspect, or the shooter, one David Ian Long, a Marine, 28, 29 years old, who perpetrated the event. Walked into the bar at 11:30 at night on a Wednesday night, and just started shooting. A horrible, somber event. I don't know how far we are over the synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh. The death of all of the Jewish temple members. That suspect is still alive. He's incarcerated. An older gentleman, angry gentleman, and the questions always come out about who, what, when, where, and we usually have all those. Who performed it? What happened? When did it occur? Where did it occur? And then why? And man, since, I don't know, 1998, even before that, when we would PT in the Army and run, and I don't mean to be callous, you sing jollies, you sing songs that have a cadence that allow the individual's information to move in unison, marching, jogging, whatever, walking. And one of the jollies was about the McDonald's massacre in my time, and it rhymed, and whoever was calling cadence, you know, whoever was running the group, they'd be singing that song. I went to McDonald's, order a Big Mac. That's when the psycho started his attack. McDonald's, I mean, horrible. That was my time, late 80s, 90s, right? And it's turned into this. And I struggle with it. Clicked on some link. The link took me out to a site. I don't even know what the site was. It looked official. I spent about 5 minutes reviewing it. It's called some American mass shootings listing. I don't even want to give the site. I mean, if you're online, you could probably find it. And it stated, and I don't know the criteria, it had a couple columns on a frame page that you could scroll down like a blog, and the columns showed dead and injured or shot, and it had a little thumbnail that you could click on and pull up more information, and it had the shooting, and I think it was driven by date, and for this year they had listed 307 mass shootings. I don't know what the criteria was for mass shooting. I'm sure it's some kind of minimum. People shot, either injured or dead, 5. It had a lot of lower listings, and the immediate skeptic is there's none dead here, and there's 3 shot, or there's 5 shot, or there's 1 dead here, and there's 6 shot, or there's 4 or 5 dead here, and there's 1 shot. I don't know. I didn't spend time looking at it. 307 listed. And if you're a proponent, if you're someone that agrees with all the stuff that's going on, you say see 307. If you're someone that disagrees with all the stuff going on, and you've got an opinion that's opposite, you're like, that's not even accurate. And none of that even matters, man. It continues to happen, and it will continue to happen, probably for a while. And everybody gets emotional, and everybody gets angry, and everybody feels mourning and loss for a tragic event. And after a while, you see this, and you're callous. Yeah, I saw it, and I don't know, when I logged in the morning, whenever, and I saw it, and I was like, again. And that was my attitude. I was like, I felt the weight, where was it? What happened? And you become callous about it, which is human, and something that is common, occurs again and again. We sort of start to accept it, and we read about it, or maybe we contribute, or maybe we know someone, or we don't know someone, or we talk about it and cope with it in whatever manner we cope with it. And then it slowly drifts into our foggy past, our memory. But all those people are dead. 11 people. I guess it's near Pepperdine, so they had young people. It was some kind of country western night, so you had adults under drinking age, 21, that could go, and they'd put these X's on their hand. So you had young people there, college sophomores and freshmen. A couple, I guess, a number were killed. You had a contingent of people there that were in the Route 91 massacre out in Las Vegas. So they get shot up out there, they get back here, they get shot up here. What kind of a bad lottery is that? I'm serious. And maybe he survived. I think one of the young men died that was there, maybe. He was a Greek kid or something. Theodopoulos, or I don't know. His father spoke, and he gets killed here, right? And then some of them survived. Maybe they were there, maybe they weren't there. They frequented that bar. And you gotta think, what? Seriously, you gotta be like, what? Am I fucking jinxed? But this kid is a Marine. He's a 28, 29-year-old retired Marine. He's no longer active. And the story's coming out about, some of the difficulties, his profile. The suspect profile. He went into a back office or something in this place, and he killed himself. He took his life. After the emergency response, the immediate emergency response had shown up, this sheriff, whom, when he drove up to the place, dude, anybody anymore is on alert. And you might be in your routine for the day, but I don't think anybody's left. That when something comes over the wire, or something, even if it's personally experienced, these guys are in their car, or they're in a position, and something is seen, heard, whatever, people now react. This guy called his wife, said, hey, there's something going on, I gotta go, I'll call you later, I love you. He didn't call her back. some 50-some-year-old, to your retirement. He's dead. This dude smoked him. I initially read stuff that said, some of the witnesses, the people in the bar, one of the girls or someone, because it's young people having fun at a line dancing bar, man, on a Wednesday night. One of them was like, this individual knew exactly what he was doing. He was trained. You know how many times in our history we said, God bless the Marine Corps? Jesus. Lady Bird Johnson, right? Eleanor Roosevelt. I had a friend who was in the Corps and traveled around the world and did what he did. And he had a quote that he always had at the end of his whatevers, his emails, his Instagram, his Snapchat accounts, his Google account. And it was from Eleanor Roosevelt. And it was, let me read it for you. The Marines I've seen around the world have the cleanest bodies, the filthiest minds, the highest morale, the lowest morals of any group of animals I've ever seen. Thank God for the United States Marine Corps, your shock troop, right? Send these cats into hell, and they have to respond. They run to it. They always have been. Tip of the spear. And good God, if in the last 30 years we haven't been spearing people. We're the tip of the spear everywhere. Oil in the Middle East, drugs in Central and South America, the Rocket Man in Korea. Putin's charging back up. The China Sea. Fucking A, it's human. It is an ebb and flow of conflict on this planet for power, money, property. It'll never stop. We are the apex predator. We own this joint. If you think you came from God and religion, man, read a book, travel around, watch the people. We're the fucking senior lion. We're the polar bear. We're the killer whale. We eat and consume it all. Fuck with us. And the U.S. is the top of that. And young people, I told you, I had a shirt that said peace through superior firepower, and it had a Uzi on it. And I wore that around when I was young. Because it's sort of funny, and Hollywood films show that, and wow, badasses. Role models our whole life. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and John Wayne. It goes on and on forever. But there's reality and death and destruction and loss and chaos and brutality. And we've seen it again. And this kid... And it goes to it's a gun debate. It's not a gun debate. It's never been a gun debate. He had a 45 Glock 21. And I can go get the 45 rounds. If you haven't had a firearm or you've never dealt with weapons. 45 is 100 years old, 150 years old. Wild West, right? Cowboys and Indians. Cowboys. Gunslingers. Colt 45 revolver, 5-shot, 6-shot. Thing's a cannon. The slugs are huge, and then they dimple them on the front so that they fan open even more. Hell, I think they nicknames all around. The flying ashtray. Thing hits you and then tears a hole in your back that big. The Man-Stopper. The 1911. The Marine Standard Issue sidearm was a 45. My buddy carried it in his glove compartment, my Marine friend. My Army friend, he had an AR-15 and a 45. 9mm and the 40 caliber. Dude, this thing's a cannon. If you don't know what I'm talking about, and this guy had it, and it's a pistol. It's not an automatic weapon. It's not a semi-automatic AR-15, which is a rifle, long barrel, huge acceleration. It's a pistol. and he smoked everybody. Dressed in black, had his little mask on below his nose or below his eyes, you know, the skull mask, because he threw smoke so he could breathe without being obstructed. Everybody freaked, and he killed them all. Again. And he wasn't some old angry white guy about Trump. Why? Why did he do it? And he wasn't some 19-year-old behaviorally and mentally troubled dude like Cruz. And he wasn't some 56, 60-year-old complete solitary, I don't know, maniac like the Paddock in Vegas. And he wasn't some, maybe he was like the kid out at Aurora theater shooting. Socially askew, never accepted. Maybe he was like the Columbine kids. It seems like there's some common thread, that the FBI or the CIA, whomever's capturing these suspect studies, this guy's dead, so all you can do is test his blood, see what kind of fucking antidepressant bullshit, whatever drugs in his system, which always seems to be involved. Yeah, we gave him, he's on, this Xanax, he's on this. It allows him to cope right out of reality, take a gun, have minimal anger, walk in and execute the skills the United States government taught him for 4 years, deployed in Afghanistan, model soldier, 10 medals, great guy, killed a bunch of people. All led up to this. And it seems like there's a story behind it. He was somewhat socially awkward in high school. He played baseball. He seemed to be athletic. Seemed to be, normal but extreme. Is there anything after baseball? Death. Joined the military. Got married. Deployed to Honolulu. The Marine Corps force. Did his time in Afghanistan. Going to serve my country. Got out. Used his GI Bill. Went to school for 2 or 3 or 4 years. You guys watched Tom Cruise, the Guantanamo people, Jack Nicholson. You're afraid you can't handle the truth. I don't know what the Marine Corps is today, but God bless. I've known a lot of people, gunny sergeants in Vietnam, right? Also deployed in Hawaii. Buddy out in Colorado, outstanding blue team, monster. He saw it back then. He's in his 60s now. Put a mouthy recruit in a locker. 18-year-old talking back to a gunny sergeant? That's not the way the man's corps works. You are indoctrinated. People die around you. You follow orders. And we don't get it. We don't get it. That's what this kid did, right? I think I read a post somewhere where he said he was in school and some 19-year-old, because he was in sports medicine or something, tried to tell him how to do his job. He's like, yep, done here. This ain't going to work for me. You follow orders in the Corps. I'm going to either beat this kid to a pulp or walk away. And he walked away. So clearly, in other instances in his life, he had the self-control. But he got divorced from whomever he married. He didn't finish college. Moved back into his mom's house, I guess. His mom's been his partner forever. There were pictures of him in social media. And then recently, in the last 6 months or 8 months, they've had arguments. They interviewed the neighbor. There was screaming, right? So now there's social unrest at home. And apparently he frequented this bar. He knew people there. They were friends there. There were people that, he watched or he listened to. Didn't per se interact with them because he was strange or estranged. Socially askew. He wasn't one of the cats that dressed up and hung out and drank. Kavanaugh kid, right? He's the guy over on the side. And, yeah. They're now saying that there's Instagram posts or Snapchat shit or whatever where it's revenge killings. Why? And everybody's going to say gun control. 45 pistol. I guess with what was stated, I haven't seen it, don't know, wasn't confirmed. The extended mags, big old magazines. And if you haven't seen that, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. 45 is, the ACP's a big round. You put it in a pistol that fits in your hand and you get like 8 of them, 10 of them in there, one in the chamber. You put a big ass magazine, there's 26 of them, one in the chamber. So you can sit there with this cannon and go bum 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 bum. Dude, nobody's gonna survive that. And I don't know if you need those. I definitely agree with gun control on those ARs. That is an assault weapon designed by the military. All these guns were. The 45 was designed by the military, distributed to the Army. The Colt 45, Army revolver. It's always been that case. I am a card-carrying member of the NRA. Freedom to bear arms. That's what made this country. There's good portions of that and there's bad portions of that. People kill people. They use a firearm. The government ever tries to take over and make decisions of the people, watch your ass. Everybody's got a firearm. 310 million firearms in this country for 310 or 15 million people or more, whatever the damn count is for people and firearms. You're never going to remove those, ever. They're everywhere. They're hidden in cracks and crevices. Tons of people have multiples. I have multiple firearms. I understand managing those better. We don't. There is a problem. AR-15 should never be sold without extreme caution, care, concern, background checks. The hell do you shoot with an AR-15? Urban assault rifle. It's a military weapon for combing cities or forests or whatever. Smoking people. Oh, no, go hunt. You're gonna hunt nothing with that. Use a rifle. Use a normal rifle. God damn. Nothing, right? This stupid fight, and it's all about guns, and it's got nothing to do with guns. It's the means to an end. And we're not addressing the problems. And it's hard. It's hard to address fundamental behavioral and emotional and whatever problems that these people have. And these freaking addictions to all these medical solutions. Yeah, there's a lot of issues, not a lot of answers, and it happened again. And I guess this guy, prior to the shooting, made jokes about it and laughed. It's like, yeah. Gonna ban guns. Yeah. This shooting shit happens and everybody is sad. Oh, and then it occurs again. And then it occurs again. So this guy said he was making fun of it. So clearly we've got some kind of semblance of a why. That guy out in Vegas, Paddock? No why. I mean, methodically punched holes in the windows at the MGM, set up the bump stocks, trucked in bags of shit, had other locations around the country that he was scoping. Dude, I don't know how you stop that guy. A multimillionaire, a smart financer. Guy had money, had properties, was in accounting and finance. I mean, dude, I don't know what you're going to do about that. This kid, different animal, right? Highly trained military dude that went sort of bad. That happens. People are dead. Cruz, you got an angry young kid, right? Have you watched the Cruz interrogation tapes? His brother or stepbrother comes in. Kid's in shock. He's crying. I don't think he understood the grasp of whatever he did. And I think that was a mental acuity problem. This guy seemed to, he said, I'm insane. This guy seemed to be, a man on a mission, a Marine on a mission. And everybody gets killed. And it's horrible. And I don't know what we're going to determine. We're not going to ban guns. We're not going to ban opioids and mood-altering drugs. It'll continue to occur, as it always has, with these angry people. Mostly men. I don't recall a mass shooting by a woman. That's a pretty basic fact. So I don't know, maybe we listen. Maybe we let all these new congresswomen, all these people come in and come up with some good discussion items and maybe try to change some of these pieces, because it's not working now. And you got a bunch of people mourning. They have to bury the dead. And that's freaking horrible, man. It's happened again. And I feel bad and I don't know what to do. And I think to myself, I'm glad that I don't know anyone out there. I'm glad I wasn't impacted. Some shitty personal self-related way. And that's, shitty, but I think that's how I cope. And I'm not going to go to Congress. I had that one gentleman, and it was his 22-year-old son. And everybody's iPhone and Apple Watch, nobody knew who was impacted, and they were pinging them, and a number of them weren't leaving the bar. So you know where your son or your daughter or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your sister or your brother or your father, 48, 49-year-old bouncer, I think, just opened his own coffee shop. Cat killed all the people working there that were... Why? Killed the cashier. Fucking guy in a bra just trying to do a job. Listen, man, I'm waiting tables. Listen, dude, I'm checking IDs. You're dead. And he kills himself. And I used to think, good. That asshole's removed from society. There's 310 plus million people here. Can't keep this trend up. The good is bad. They're taking out handfuls of people. Or more. No, I don't feel good about that. I feel like, I don't know. Maybe if the kid's mother could have remained calm and tried to be a closer parent to him, right? And that's so stupid. There's stress and strife in everybody's life. That's the core of relationships. We always hurt the ones we love. Scream at each other, you're an asshole, you're a loser. Fuck you, stop taking the car. You don't pay for anything. You don't clean up. You're never around. You're lazy. something pushed this individual beyond reality. Or maybe not. Maybe it pushed him to become a Marine again. But instead of being in Afghanistan, he was in Thousand Oaks. And then you get all these people, soft targets. I don't want to hear about it. I know. Now what? Now what? Get fucking 12 caskets. Have all these fucking ceremonies to bury the fucking dead. And all these lives are destroyed. One of the safest areas in Southern California. One of the cops or somebody said, dude, there ain't no safest area. Sooner or later, something, somewhere, somehow, it shows up. It just showed up. So, maybe we will see more information on this individual. I don't know what's going to occur in Congress or in our senior country leaders, local, state, federal, church. What kind of statements will come out? I got a weird feeling this one's gonna go just like the Las Vegas Paddock killing. No, why? That dude did all that, killed 50 some people, injured like, I don't know how many, 500. Non-fatal injuries, 851, 422 by gunfire. We've all seen the clips, man. The videos of that. And they don't have a why. They don't know why he did it. And that case is closed. October 1st, 2017. The Route 91 Country Music Festival. Dismantled by a barbarian. Why'd that happen? I don't know. Next, the Borderline Country Western Line Dancing Bar. That barbarian destroyed 12 people, including himself, 13. Maybe we'll know why. And if you're one of the victims or one of those impacted, the why doesn't matter. Because he's dead. And whatever ties you to that event is dead. And you gotta move on. Whew. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Yeah. But we have to discuss it. We have to try to figure these things out. It has to be very clear, accurate, unemotional discourse. Really detailed. We have to try to figure out why. And then how? How do we fix it? What do we do? I said it in an earlier video. You can't change people and you can't fix them. We try to start doing that and it's like that Tom Cruise movie where the ball rolls out. And then you got 7 minutes in the future that knows that a homicide occurs. I don't know, maybe. Get the future cop to go stop this guy from walking in. The timeline cop. We're not there yet. Maybe that's the answer. Who the hell knows? If we could remove all the guns, maybe that's the answer. We'll never do that. It's a bell curve in society, right? Right down the middle, all of us fall. Ish, we hope. I'm normal. I'm normal SpongeBob. Hello, I'm normal. Beautiful weather we're having. Squidward loved normal SpongeBob. SpongeBob, you're so normal. You are the most enjoyable. Yeah, Oh, thanks, Squidward. Yeah, and then you got these outliers. And when you got 310 million people, the outliers are a lot. And every once in a while, one of them goes and does something. Shoots up some joint, right? And then he tweets it out on Instagram and on Snapchat, and his Facebook's got crap. Which, whatever. And then that becomes a focal point. Zuckerberg, and hey, put this, those are secondary issues. That the guy walks in and kills a bunch of people. What happened? Why? And we don't know. And I don't think anybody's are going to address this or fix it, really. With any singular action. Right? I suspect for history this kind of stuff's gone on, right? We've had individuals that have taken aggressive, brutal action toward other people for some reason or another. And if you really look at it, you can probably find them all. And they're all different scopes and sizes, right? And I think, which a lot of people are saying, if you love and you communicate and you try to understand and you try to remove the anger, even if there is emotion, what else can you do? There's no do-over. It's done, man. And we try to recover. But it's happened again. And there's been 307, now 308 this year. That's crazy. That's a lot of people. And it's not a lot of people in 310 million, but it's a lot of people. And I know it can get worse, man. I know it can get worse. Go to Mexico. Go to Brazil. Go to Ecuador. Those places are way worse. I took the boys when we went to Mexico. I don't know where. Cancun? I think we went to Cancun. No, I think we went to Cozumel, the little island off. And then we took a ferry across to Cancun and we ate at Senor Frog's. Cool little restaurant right on the beach. And we walked around into the street in the community, which, it's second world-ish because of the vacation area. And you can't be a victim and you can't be afraid. I mean, but those places are a little more savvy than other parts of the world or the US, right? Like going into Chicago suburbs or going into downtown Detroit or going into South Central in LA or going into pieces of New York or anywhere where you've got, unsavory components. Any downtown has that. Downtown San Francisco right now. They've got so much feces on the streets there, they're passing laws. People are crapping everywhere and it's spreading hepatitis because of the drug use, and it's spreading, toxicity into the whole surrounding area, into the non-sewer system and everything. It's a mess. With that comes that unsavory side. People that'll rob, cheat, steal. Maybe they won't kill you, but it's not happy-go-lucky living. You got to be aware. You have to be alert. You have to be in tune. And there's different levels of that, right? Egypt. It's so weird. I've thought for a decade, going to Egypt and seeing the pyramids and stuff. Dude, you might lose your head. You got some extremists over there. that potentially, we've had a part in playing, creating, prior to bin Laden. It's a tumultuous area for a long, long time, thousands of years, right? Had a Hussein in command on that throne for 2,000 years, man. And Saddam. Saddam's a bad man. Saddam and any other Hussein back into antiquity was a bad man. Right? My Libyan man, the line of death across this line. Bad man. Gaddafi was doing bad stuff. Taking those schoolgirls. I mean, come on. You compare some of this stuff to the scope of that and you go, whoa, this is a horrific event. But I get it. It's not genocide. Like the Croats and the Serbs. Or the Ethiopians and the Eritreans. The fuck? Nobody cared about that because they're a bunch of poor Africans. Millions of them killing each other. Millions. That just happened. We had mass graves and eradication of religious cultural groups. The Serbs and the Croats. That just happened. There's shock and horror, but you have to have a reality check. The world is a violent freaking place. And we got some bullshit idealistic attitude. The Russians had it, man. Stalin and Lenin and all that, right? And that was the process in action. That was the idealism in play. And you got the Gulag Archipelago from Solzhenitsyn. They murdered millions. Because we're human. And that's not going to go away. That's evolution in biology. Believe it or not. And everybody sees that. Just like Rogan was with, I don't know who it was. Maybe it was Musk. Talking to Elon about the monkeys. Cats are savage. Roll over and kill a tribe. Rip them apart and eat them. That's what we are. We're the top. We're the top tier. We are the apex. And it blows. And we try to be civilized and manage this shit, and it's horrible. Fucks up your day and your week and your month. Instills some people to change the course of their life. Depresses others. Completely impacts, destroys, changes some families. Polarizes. It polarizes everyone. I'm never going to have on my watch another child murdered in a classroom. At least if I have the power to manage that. And you don't. And I get it. Having your child ripped out from your existence. I don't get that. That's horror. And you can understand a reaction like that. And it may dull over time or whatnot, but for some people it never changes. Just like a world war. Where you ship off all your young men, and nowadays some of your young women. And a percentage don't come back. And we coped with that. And somehow, because it wasn't internal, it wasn't civil, brother, sister against brother, sister, it made us stronger. It was an us against them villain, the axis of evil. And it brings the country together. Rosie the Riveter. Everybody contributes. The war machine works. And it builds this, union. But the shit we got going on now is not that union. You know, it's greed and gluttony and all your deadly sins. Jealousy and hatred, and it's being observed and then exercised upon. In complete and total action. With, you know, an outcome of death. That's sad. So, you know, I don't know. I know what people's thoughts are. They're wide and far. And everybody has opinions and has ideas. And everybody in some way, shape, or form reads this and digests it and interprets it and then shares it with anger or with sadness or with whatever your range of emotions are. You know? And some of it's, you know, normal, and some of it's extreme, and it is what is. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. Everybody has to somehow express and grieve, and that's their right. That's their coping mechanism. So that's horrible news. I don't know what else to think or talk about it. I don't know what will come out of this. You know, I don't know what type of thoughts and legislation or people that rise up and try to carry a torch for this, or just share their story, or nothing. Same old will go on. An impact to a community that then has to manage and adjust, just like a natural disaster, right? The floods or whatever, all the lives lost in this last fucking hurricane that blew out the Panhandle. I don't even know what the final one that was. 54 dead? More than that? Weather. And it's the same reaction, dude. It's so weird. There's anger at loss. When you lose people, when you lose the one you love, when you lose the cornerstone of your family, when you lose your pet, when you lose a brother, a sister, a mother, a father, a daughter, a son, a loved one, you're angry. And there's so many different stories. There's no right answer, but we react. They were told to evacuate, right? Oh, they couldn't evacuate. Whatever. It's got every range of stories, and there's still 54 people dead, or whatever the number was. And you want to blame Trump, and you want to blame the reaction. Why isn't the power back on? Why haven't they cleaned up the streets? Why, blah, blah, blah. Ah! Because that's how I react to trauma and to, you know, tragedy. And it's a way to react. It's human, but you have to move beyond it. Now what? What do I do to help? How do I fix it? How do I change my own life? How do I become more aware? How do I become a positive speaking force for this? How do I have my own opinion that meets what I believe? Have I assessed that? Do I agree? Do I disagree? Am I informed? Am I uninformed? Does it matter? Am I going to choose not to talk about it? I don't like to talk about public massacre. I don't like to talk about mass shootings. I get too emotional. I get angry. I get wishy-washy. So many people are like this. Everybody. There's some part of that spectrum, that bell curve. But only we can look at us and figure out, okay, now what? What's my position? I carry and conceal down here. I have a carry conceal card. I don't carry a weapon. I figured that out a long time ago. On one hand, because of this kind of stuff, Pulse nightclub, the military, whatever, past lives, I still don't carry a weapon. On a rare occasion, if we get in a vehicle or whatever and we're going somewhere to Tampa or Orlando for more than just a drive, a day trip or whatever, I might put the handgun in the glove compartment. Which is stupid. Because if you're willing to use that weapon, you're going to have to manage the repercussions, right, wrong, or indifferent. You could kill a bystander, your kid, your pet, the evildoer, yourself. Those are the repercussions. It's a tool. Like when you take the chainsaw and you're cutting a tree. Operate the tool correctly. It can jam, get caught, jump off the tree, chop your leg, allow you to cut the tree into your house, onto your neighbor's dog. Whatever. It can be a successful event. Wow, I trimmed my tree. I removed that impediment, that problem, that challenge. Or it can be a failure. Put a gash to the bone in my knee. Busted out and had to call the insurance on the fucking roof because it chopped off a whatever. Then we have to manage those, and they happen all the time. It's called life. This is a part of life. This is the shit part. This is the messed up part, but we have to move on and manage this and try to discuss it. And it's hard. And I'm not going to get my gun, and I'm not the dude that's in the borderline that pulls his gun out and shoots the individual. There's some people like that. And I'll tell you what, I'm pretty able with a firearm. And I still don't want to shoot someone, ever. I don't like shooting animals. I've already stated this prior. And if you haven't ever fired, dude, everything about it's traumatic. The smell, the sound, the sight. You have no clue. Shia LaBeouf, wait until you see what a man can do to another man. We took prisoners in the Colosseum and led them out to the field and then stuck other individuals and animals or what to watch them get ripped apart. This isn't new, but what are we going to do? We're going to hold a multi-month celebration festival of Colosseum activities and recreate the battles from antiquity. In a weird way, dude, Gladiator wasn't far off. And that society was as advanced as we are. And if you haven't been to Rome or Greece or whatever, where they had plumbing and they had signs, and they were sexual and they were family oriented and they had written language and spoken language and learning and texts and shit, all the stuff we have 1,000 years ago, man. And they were animals too. And they stomped the world and ruled the world, much like we've done, in a somewhat more civilized manner. Somewhat. I thought about it the other day. I was sitting here, and a battle group of helicopter flew over the house. And it was like, I don't know what they are, the Seahorse or Seacraft or whatever. That's what they look like, the giant amphibious naval helicopters. And I say that because they're huge, and the landing gear goes up into the body, and they can like crane and carry crap, and they're on your battle group carriers and stuff like that. They're deployed to sea. And man, 4 or 5 or 6 of them were in formation that went over the house. It was Armageddon. It was the end of days. It was the wrath of God. Whatever the physics of noise coming in. The dog, me, the frickin' people buried in the backyard, everybody woke up. Like, holy, you're in your rice farm in North Vietnam with no plumbing in your thatch house where you carry your water on your head and the air cav rolls up on you with UH-60s, with guns blazing and missiles. Dude, God's attacking. That's what we did. Just like the French, just like the Russians, just like the Spanish, just like anybody. For centuries, just like the Romans, the Greeks, just like anybody. So that's human and that's reality, and it's brutal, man. And it's accepted, and it's made us the greatest nation on the planet. And I'm proud, and I love America. I'm blessed. We're all blessed. Wake up every day, you're blessed. You're here. Leave here. Go to Jamaica. Go to Dominican Republic. Go to Cuba. Go to wherever. Wherever. Don't go to Paris on your vacation. Don't go to Sydney. Go somewhere where it's not fantasy land. The rest of the world. And you're like, oh shit. There's 6 billion people that live like this. Whoa. Yeah. Changes your view. Americans, we went to Costa Rica with a group of young people and they were assholes. That was years ago. America, it's so terrible. And what they do. You have no fucking concept, man. Anything. Spend a moment outside of your bullshit bubble on your fucking phone. Snapchatting your retard friends. Oh my god. Or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'll show this. This one's a dark, negative, shitty webcast, and I'm sorry. Shit day. Shit days. And it's bad because I'm not doing what I know I need to do. How to be positive, how to help these people, how to turn this around. And I don't know. I'm at a loss again. Right? It's the Pulse nightclub. They were all homosexuals. Right? There was a contingent of people that are like, yeah, they deserve it. What kind of stupidity? It exists. It's in this country. Blasphemous. The Bible states homosexuality is evil. All right, how do we manage that? How do we talk to those kind of people? You know, Roe v. Wade. You're killing humans. We've managed some of these events better. Some of these topics, some of these controversial items, and they're still inflammatory and violent and brutal. Got the guy out there killing the frickin' abortion doctors. This isn't new. It's tough. We have to keep trying to work through it. The media can't flame this wrath of shit. The media doesn't help. The media pollutes. And they have to. That's their machine. They have to drum up controversy and information, perspectives. And most of us aren't able to handle all that anymore. We're not. Come from a normal family with your iPhone or whatever. We don't know how to interpret all this shit and all these angles. And it's easy to latch onto a piece of it, or, you know. That's my opinion. I agree. It's tough. But we've got to keep trying to be positive, trying to move forward, trying to work together, trying to understand each other, trying to do it without violence and anger and emotion. And that's hard nowadays because that's what the government seems like. Trump's the king of that. Woo! That guy just stirs up some energy. I was up at the clubhouse and one of the gals up there said to me, out in the open space near the front desk, it just needs shape. I said, what are you doing? look at your beard. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah. Just, when are you going to do that? When are you going to tighten? All right, just tighten it up. The beard's okay. Trim it up. What? And I was like, really? I have to? And she was like, yeah, you have to. And there was a guy there. I was like, okay, bye-bye. And I walked out, and the guy's like, you gonna clean it up? And I was like, yeah, no, I don't know. And he goes, boy, she's a ball buster. Some people are ball busters, and they press, and they're hard, and they're opinionated. Some people aren't. And everybody's got an opinion, and everybody's got the ability for, discourse and sharing that and public speech. So we got to keep trying to manage this thing. We've got to keep trying to be constructive, not destructive. This guy was just destructive, man. We've seen the actions of the destructives. They're going to continue. What do we do to be constructive? Pick apart, just like any major project, any major problem. We're smart people. Pick apart. Pick a piece. How do we fix this? What's the best way to address this? Gun control needs some management. Guns need some management in this country. It's not healthy anymore. That needs to be worked on. With the NRA, without the NRA, in senior government, wherever. In the different arms, I don't know. It needs to be worked on. It's having a negative impact on our society, on our lives. People are being killed, and not just a few, a lot. And when you go to Chicago, people are getting killed every weekend. And nobody gives a shit about that. Keep putting that crap in the paper, callous or ignorant. You're like, next, I'm going about down to the classifieds. 54 shot, 13 dead. That's accepted violence. It's inner city drug violence. It's whatever. That's okay. I'm not going to do about that. Cops, the mayor, they're taking care of it. Redevelop. They're more of a... The police nowadays look like civil combat experts. They are paramilitary fiends with $3,000 worth of gear, a $2,000 handgun, a $1,000 pistol, Kevlar, full battle dress. I'm just waiting for them to have the God blessed night vision. They look like SEALs. They're cops in your neighborhood. Emergency response force, the SWAT team. Remember SWAT? Da-da-da, they had the cool overall and like the M16, da-da-da, and a cap, because the cops couldn't wear a cap. Now you got Navy SEALs walking out of the department. I don't know if that's the answer. Civil combat force. I don't know if that's going to fix it. I don't think it will. I don't think it has. And now you get some really sick weapons that they got stolen from the armory. We're missing 16 AR-15s. 3 of them are automatic. They're not semi, fully automatic. We're missing... Okay. That's disturbing. These freaking SWAT vehicles. These battle vehicles, these military-built, tested, validated attack weapons that are showing up in communities because that's what's needed. We just passed it in one of the amendments to finance and accommodate some response force. Yeah, there's a 66-year-old blue-haired down here with his cache of weapons, and he's shooting up the Publix. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the answers are. To me, that feels like it's not the answer. Remember that video of the 2 dudes out in Calabasas or wherever they robbed the bank? And they had the Class 4 body armor or whatever on? and they robbed the bank. Something happened. It held them up. The cops were across the street. They were at a donut shop or some shit. I don't know. I'm not trying to add some urban folklore. They were at a restaurant or a shop across the street, a minute away. Like 2 squad cars. They show up. These guys can't escape. Now they're pinned in. Dude, they're running out. They got 5.56 or 7.62, whatever their rounds are, their AR-15s or whatever. The bullets are bouncing off them. They got the armor-piercing rounds in there. Maybe with the... There's a video out from this cat in the borderline, and you can see the green dot. He's got a green dot laser sight on it. This dude was prepared. You can see it flashing around in the bar. This was years ago. These guys are out running around. He runs right out. The cop car's there, and he goes... It goes right through the door. It smokes the poor cop behind the door. They got a pistol. And maybe it was a 9mm, maybe it was a 40 caliber, you know, that maybe does some damage. You could see the ricochets that going off their body armor. These guys are standing there. I watched that video, I was like, oh, it was a video game. It was Fortnite. In life, in real life. I don't know. I don't know what the answers are. I understand taking a stance. I understand picking a topic and really trying to pursue it. I understand emotion and heated and angry and fucking lost and depressed and really, really aggressive desires to fix this. And I think we can fix some of it. I don't know who will, how, when, and why. It's going to take majorities, and those are brutal anymore. Now you got the Democratic-run House, so who the hell knows? Impeaching Trump isn't going to fix anything. You know, I don't know. But I rant and I rave, and this is a horrible day, and I feel for, sympathy and loss and sadness and anger and disgust and fear and anxiety and disappointment, and all of those things are wrapped up in me. They go out to all these people that lost their lives the other day, all these families that are fucked up. That 22-year-old's dad came out and talked. He said he's having a kid, and the 22-year-old is going to go in the military. He was so excited that his father was going to have a baby girl and he'd have a sister. And he's dead. Fucking mess. What a loss. Yeah. I'm not holy, and I've always said this to people that I love that have tragedy. I will say a prayer for you. And I do. I don't know if there's a God up there. I hope there's a God up there. Benign God, whatever God. Somebody somewhere that's supreme, or who knows. And it's habit. I grew up in that environment, so it's more habit than anything. I hope those people are in a better spot. I know many of them aren't. They were young, vibrant, joyous, beautiful people. And they're fucking gone. Or old. Older, vibrant, excited, cool people. Whatever. The stories of everybody in that synagogue that were killed, like the brothers or whatever that were 90. The shit they could tell you. The lives they've experienced, that wisdom, it's gone. Some asshole walked in and thought he had the right to remove that. You piece of crap. And I feel like doing what I always do. Pull that dude apart a pound at a time. Doesn't fix shit. Doesn't do shit. You don't feel better. I don't feel better. Fuck. Family that lived through the Holocaust. They put me in a camp. I dealt with the Nazis. And some stupid old, Well, I have nothing else to say. It's a sad event, and I will say a prayer, and I will probably look to see what occurs after this and the shitty manner that I follow these things. And ultimately, you see, like in Las Vegas, you see no why ever determined. I think we'll figure out a why with this gentleman, but it won't matter. So, thoughts, concerns, if I ever post this video up, please share, and maybe, I will review them and provide another perspective or some update or output, or learn from you, and, have information sharing, and maybe have an action, maybe address something different when the next fucking massacre occurs. Out.